Welcome, everybody, to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties are the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and I am telling you this. If I can do it, so can you. So let's get started. We are starting, listen to this, okay? When this young man, 27 years old, put his mind to it on September 7th of 2020, about 150 days from this recording, 150 days, he has ramped up and he has closed and has pending 4 deals in Indiana. He lives in Columbus, Indiana. He's doing these deals in small towns. Listen, you can do this across the country. I don't care if you're in a big market or if you're in a small market, you can make an impact in your community. It is my absolute pleasure to bring onto the podcast, Daniel Vasquez. Daniel, say hello to everybody.
How's everyone doing? Thanks so much for having me on the show.
I'm excited because you took off like a rocket. If I remember correctly, from the first time that we spoke to 31 days later, you had closed a deal that was, it was a 5-figure deal, and maybe we'll break it down later. I don't know if that's the one you want to break down, but it was a 5-figure deal 31 days later of you really getting serious about your real estate business. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes. It only took me a month, so.
Incredible. And that's what I wanted to bring out. I think that's the real juice in this podcast starting out is, yes, I want the expectation to be that to get your first deal and to get going takes about 90 days. That's the average. That's what I want people to put in their head. But you can hit opportunities fast if you are being proactive in your investing business, which Daniel was. So let's break this down. Let's break this thing wide open, Daniel. What were you doing before you discovered real estate investing and wholesaling?
So I was working at a factory here. I was making about, I'd say 36 grand a year. So yeah, I pretty much my whole family, we started before I discovered wholesaling. My family, we were thinking about going into rehabbing. And so every year we would gather together, and we would be talk about saving up $5,000 towards the end of the year to where we would put up money to buy pretty much an investment property. And so it never happened. So we had been doing this for, 2 or 3 years, and nobody really saved up money until I met my wife at the moment. She's my wife now. We got married like 6 months ago. And so she was the one that gave me that push, and she was like, why don't we do it? Let's go in it. We started in 2018 learning about it. She said, okay, let's start. It was in August 2018. She said, we'll save up money starting January 2019. We'll go all in.
I love it. So,
go ahead.
How big of a town do you live in? Talk to us about where you live, what market you're going after. Talk to me about that.
So my market, there's probably like 40,000 people here. The other market where I closed two of my deals, there's like 25,000 people there. Most of them were driving for dollars. So the 2 deals I made a little over 16,000. So they're small markets, and like most of your course suggested for us to start doing our backyard. So that's where I started, and it paid off. So.
And what is your average price point in your market? You know what I mean? Totally fixed up. What's the average house sell for?
On where I closed them up, it was like 130, 140.
So these are big deals for that price point. I mean, it's not like you're locking up these deals and making this, $11 or $13 or whatever $1,000 on like a $500,000 property. I mean, you're making a phenomenal amount on these smaller properties. And that's what I want to encourage everybody to do, because I think everybody thinks that you have to go into these bigger markets that have higher price points. And, I agree to that to some extent. I really think that you should get your foundation. You should build your foundation. You should start getting some wins, some successes in your own backyard, because you're going to understand that market a little bit better. You're going to be able to know and feel the cash buyers or the investors that you're working working with. These people are neighbors, right? I mean, they know who you are, or at least something about you or your family. So it's not like it's anything that you have to go into a new market and really get educated on the people and the flow and the cash buyers. You've already got it there. And that's why I encourage people to start in their backyard. And you're getting phenomenal returns on those deals. So whatever you're doing, keep doing. Well, I know what you're doing. We'll break that down, but keep doing it. All right. That's the coaching. Keep doing it. So you're working in a factory. I mean, what are the hours working in a factory? I don't even know. All I know is like TV and like movies and like, YouTube documentaries on factories. What is it, like 8 hours a day that you're just doing the same thing all day? Like what, tell me about this.
So when I started your coaching, I was literally waking up at 5:40, close to 6ish. Would get off work till around 4:30, be home, and then I would cold call from 4:30 to like 7:30. And so I would cold call every single day. So,
and what were you doing in the like all day long? What were you doing?
So we were making car parts. So I was having to gauge parts and stuff to make sure pretty much it was machinery kind of stuff. So I would having to work on machines and stuff. So it was greasy, dirty kind of factory job. But yeah.
So this is exhausting work.
Yep.
And then you get off. And you get on the phone to chase after your dream. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, man. I wouldn't have that. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be honest with everybody right now. If I was working a really, really manually intensive job, I'm not getting off of, well, maybe, but I don't think so. I mean, that's incredible. How do you get the mindset to be able to do that? How do you be able to switch tracks and not be like, oh, I'm so exhausted, or, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or, oh, I'll wait till the weekend and then I'll do the calls. How do you do that? How do you flip that switch?
I don't know. I was honestly just reading books was the thing that really got me into the right path. And it was just my desire to pretty much quit my job, because that's what I wanted at the end of the day, and just pretty much have my freedom, have, I guess, my free time for myself and my wife now. So that's pretty much what pushed me to pretty much have a better life for us and my family as well. So. And
what were you saying you were making at that job?
Around $36,000 a year.
$36,000 a year as a W-2 employee, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So your paycheck's much less than that after everything's taken out, right? Mm-hmm. And now you have your own business and have closed pretty much that in 150 days and growing, right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I mean, absolutely incredible. I mean, this is such an inspiration, but you decided to go. You weren't going to just let your circumstances just beat you down. You were going to keep enough energy. You kept enough energy inside you to be able to take action after you've been working all day long. Because, I mean, obviously, you're feeding your brain great things, right? You're reading, you're probably listening to the great podcasts like the Wholesaling Inc podcast or whatever else, right? Something that's, giving you that juice, giving you that energy, that mental energy that you need. And then you take action. That's the biggest thing. I think that, the biggest transition, Daniel, that I see with a lot of people is they have that passion. They have the same fire you have. They have the fire in their belly, in their brain. They're reading the books. They're listening to the podcast. They're going on YouTube. They're getting it all figured out, but they're missing the most important thing. And that is that time that you just mentioned from 4:30 to 7:30 that you're picking up the phone and you were calling distressed property owners and you were asking them if they would consider an offer on their property. Right?
That is correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, absolutely. I'm blown away, man. I'm so pumped right now having this conversation with you. I mean, I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine what your days are. And so now, are you full-time?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Come on. How long did it take you to transition? First of all, how long were you in that industry? How long were you in the
6 years.
6 years. How long did it take you to get out?
A month.
Oh my gosh. I am telling you, man, this is the greatest business, isn't it, Daniel?
Yes, sir, it is.
I mean, it's just the greatest business. One day, one conversation, that conversation that you had literally put you on a completely different path in life. You know what I mean? Like you would be exhausting, your body breaking down after years and years and years and years. And now you're going after, you have that, you have a clear path in what you want to do. And you're doing it right now. I mean, are you getting these deals from picking up the phone? Are you doing, how did you get your first deal? Let's say that.
That's all I'm doing. I'm talking to people.
That's
I'm
it. You're
really,
just picking up the phone. Oh man, I love it. I did not pay him to say that. No, that's awesome. But it's the truth. I mean, literally,
yeah.
that there is. This isn't rocket science. We're not. This isn't like some sort of surgery that we're doing here. We literally, if you have enough quality conversations with distressed property owners, you will win. You will win big time. Look at Daniel. If you are just listening to this, look at this man. He is, and go to the Brent Daniels YouTube channel to check this interview out in video. But it is so incredible. This is the example that you have. If you're going through a tough time at work, or you've just got, you're in an industry or career that you just don't love and it's not your passion, this is a beautiful example of how to be able to break out of that, man. I'm pumped. So I'm just excited here. I've been talking too much. I'm going to let you go loose and kind of break down what your day looks. So give me your schedule. What do you do now? Now, before you were waking up, you were going to work, you're doing this 4 to 7:30. What does your day look like now?
So now I wake up at the same time around 5:36. I do meditation. I do my affirmations, and then I go to I get my breakfast. I go to the gym from around 8 to 10, and then I get home, eat my normal meals, and then I'll start cold calling from 11 to 5 or 6, and then I work on outside of the business after that till like 10 or so, and then repeat it again every single day.
So you call for 5 to 6 hours a day?
I try to cold call pretty much 3 to 4 hours, and then I do follow ups for like an hour. So
I love it. And what are you finding? Are you finding that in your market, in these, are you just in the smaller markets? Are you running out of people to talk to? Because that's one of the concerns when you're going after, different markets or different distressed property lists. If you're in a smaller market, obviously there's less people to go after. Are you finding that, or is it still feeling like it's flowing pretty well?
So I'm still doing the driving for dollars in my area since it's closer, but I'm starting to expand out towards Indy since it's a bigger market. So, but yeah, I'm still trying to work deals. I actually have another one that I'm actually an appointment set up that I might be going after this weekend, and it's in Seymour again. So where I got 2 of my deals. So
You better get that deal.
yeah,
You better get that deal. Is it going to be a
gotta
good
have-
one?
it should be a good one. Yeah,
Like how good?
at least a 5 figure.
All right. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So keep it going. So then you're using a dialer, you're making these calls, you're having good contacts. Do you have a contact goal? This is a question I was asked today on my live show on YouTube. Do you have I was asked, do you have a contact goal? Do you have a contact goal every day, or is it just a time? How do you measure it?
Yeah, I usually measure by the time. I actually just sit down and start cold calling for 3 hours. I don't get up till I cold call because I started doing by the dials. I was doing 200 dials, but sometimes I did them within an hour or 2 hours, and then
Yep.
I was done. So I didn't want to just stop whenever I hit that goal. So I was actually I'm doing the at time now. So
Awesome. And then lead follow-up and then appointments. Whatever appointments you go on, you're running around.
yes, sir.
Simple schedule. Don't you get bored?
No. I mean, I like this business. I mean, just seeing the results in like you said, 150 days. I was actually doing the same thing for 6 years, and I had to, So now it's just a matter of being consistent. So
I love it. I love it. Well, let's do it. Everybody's favorite part of our podcast, which is an actual deal breakdown. So which one do you want to do? Do you want to do this 11K deal or the 13K deal that we talked about?
It don't matter. We can do it.
Let's do the most recent. Let's do a 13K deal. Break it down for me. Where did you find this lead?
This one, it was on a list that I pulled down. It was an absentee owner list. So I cold calling as well.
Will you explain to the audience what you mean by absentee owner?
That's where I guess it's kind of like a tired landlord where the house is vacant and the I guess the owner doesn't live there. So that's
Perfect.
what I would. So
yep. So absentee owner list, older properties. Where did you pull it from?
It was PropStream.
All right, so ttpdata.com. Check that out if you guys don't. You have to get this tool, ttpdata.com. I'm telling you, powered by PropStream. Everybody that's serious about this business has it, right? I mean, for real. Yeah,
correct,
TTP data. So, okay, so you pulled an absentee from TTP data, PropStream, and just skip traced it, rock and roll?
I skip trace it. Batch leads, I used batch leads, and then I cold called it. I got a hold of the owner, and then it actually took me, I think, 2 months to close this deal because he has his daughter living there, and so I had to wait to pretty much close on the house.
So let's go through the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying this lead, right? So for everybody out there, as you are getting leads, right? The engine of our business is lead generation, right? But conversion is the second part of the business, right? There's 3 parts: lead generation, conversion, and exit strategy. So in conversion, one part is all about pre-qualifying your leads based on the condition of the property, their timeline to sell, their motivation to sell, and their price. So what was the condition of this property, Daniel?
Yeah, it was rough. I didn't even know how the person was still living there, but it was fairly rough. It had leaks on the roof, so you could tell on the outside. It was really bad. So.
And how big was the house? Do you remember?
I think it was like 1,200 some square feet.
So roof, plumbing, electrical, flooring, cabinets, sinks,
all that
fixtures, doors, the whole thing. Okay, got it. And how did it get into that condition? Just wear and tear from the tenants?
Well, I guess the daughter that was living there, she didn't take care of the property, so it was just her by herself. So.
Got it. Was she paying rent?
Nope.
I am telling you right now, those are some of the best deals, and when parents give their kids the ability to live rent free in one of their properties, and they just don't respect it. They're not paying for it. They're not keeping it up. Typically, they're not working. They're just kind of living there. It's a when you hear that, and the reason I bring that up is I'm sure, Daniel, when you were talking to him on the phone on a call and he's telling you, my daughter lives there, she's not paying me rent, it's in rough shape, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, this is going to be good, right?
That's correct. Yep.
So it's rough shape. It needs a total remodel. Their timeline, what did you say, 2 months?
Well, at first he said, okay, we could do this within 2-3 weeks. So I got it under contract and everything. And then before I started trying to find buyers, he said, okay, I'm going to need some more, because he was an older man and he was fixing up another property that I might be following up later on. But he was fixing another property to where she could move into, because he had 2 properties and the one he was living in, but they were all in the same street. So he was fixing up one, but he's an older man, and he was going to take longer to fix it up. So he couldn't give me the house vacant. So I told him, yeah, I mean, there's no problem. We can push it back a couple weeks. No problem at all. So that's what I did. And then I started looking for a buyer as well. And then I sold it within, I don't know, a couple of days. Like 2 days, I think it was. So
I love it. So give me, before we talk about the cash buyer, because I do want to touch on that, what was the price that you locked it up at?
It was around 20K.
20K and totally fixed up. What does it go for?
Around 120, 130.
Ooh, I love these numbers, Daniel. I love these numbers. No wonder it was easy for you to sell. And listen, people are listening to this and maybe watching this for the first time, and they're like, what? It's worth 130,000. He got it for 20,000. Listen to me, everybody, very, very, very closely. Every hour of every day, these deals are happening. Every hour, maybe every minute of every hour of every day, these deals are happening around the country. Listen, Robert Kiyosaki hit it right on the head. The deal of a lifetime comes around about once a week. It really does. And that's what we have to do. That's our job. Our job is to get in the middle of this. Somebody is a distressed property owner. Somebody is a cash buyer. Cash buyer doesn't want to deal with the emotions of the distressed seller. Distressed seller doesn't necessarily want to deal with the coldness and the business-like, personality of the cash buyer. That's where Daniel comes in. He comes in, he's charming, he's nice, he's listening, he's patient, he's going through, he's there to serve and helps us out. That's why wholesaling exists. We exist in the middle. We exist to be able to facilitate that. So absolutely incredible. So your cash buyer in that market, do you have a big cash buyer pool? Is it a small cash buyer pool? Is this a cash buyer that is looking to own it as a rental or as a flip?
So actually, this is a little different. My cash buyer was actually I posted on Facebook Marketplace. My cash buyer was actually just a normal person looking for a house he could flip and live in it. So because it needed a lot of work. We were estimating around probably like 60,000. So that's why he paid a little more for the property, because he was going to be living in it. So
I love it. So when you posted it out, what price did you post it out at?
I posted it at 40K, and so I thought it was a little bit higher, but there's always negotiating and that. And so this cash buyer offered me 35 for that property. So
35, and you well, I know what you netted, but you netted a little bit lower than that.
It was more. It was close to 14K. It was like 30. It was like 13.7 something. So
what did you pay for in there? And not the full 15. What did you net? What did you pay for something in there? Did you pay for some closing costs or anything?
Yeah, we went half and half on closing costs and stuff. And he was.
And you netted how much?
Around, it was close to 14K. So. Yes, sir.
You maniac. I love it. I love it. That's incredible and interesting that you were able to post it to a Facebook Marketplace, find a cash buyer that wanted to renovate it themselves, get a really smoking deal at 35,000, put some sweat equity into it, and probably have a really good amount of equity there. So that's absolutely fantastic. And I mean, now you're rolling. You've got another one. You've got another one popping up. You did another one for 5,900, another one for 1,500, another one for 11,000. I mean, you are on fire, right? What does your wife think?
Oh, she's happy with this. So she's amazed. So
I love it. So what's the big goal? What's the big vision? Where do you see yourself 10, 20, 30 years? Do you see yourself building a real estate empire? Do you see yourself actually building property and developing? Do you see yourself having a big fund that you lend money at? Like, what is your path? What is your thoughts right now? Give us dream with us. Yeah.
So my goal right now is hopefully to start grow my wholesaling business, and then hopefully start doing some owner finance deals as well. I've been looking into those. And so I've been doing. I actually, my first deal that I got a long time ago, where I lost my 15K last year as well. So I was a subject to deal, but yeah, that's a different story. So but yeah, so hopefully I can do some owner finance deals in the future. But yeah, my main goal right now is to start grow my wholesaling business.
Awesome. And listen, you're focused. You've got it. I love it. I love it. And I assume you want at some point, the creative financing, the seller financing, getting those properties is to build your portfolio.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Passive cash flow.
Yes, sir. Definitely. That's the goal.
Do you have a goal of how many doors? Does your wife have a goal of how many doors?
We've thought about it. We're thinking about around 150.
I love it. 150 properties, doors, rental doors in your portfolio, brother. You're going to do it. I mean, just stay here, right? Stay focused on income coming in, right? Making the money, being smart, keeping the money, keep your expenses low, save it up, make sure you pay off any of those crazy debt. If you have any kind of debts, you pay all that off, all personal debts, and then rock and roll with that and start really doing some damage with your rental portfolio. It's so exciting. So, Daniel, what is, you mentioned Driving for Dollars. Are you using an app for
No,
Driving for Dollars, or are you just writing them down?
Yeah, it's just been me and my wife. So she's driving her. She writes them down, and that's it. I drive. So
Incredible. All right. Yeah. Listen, you don't have to have a huge budget for this. I mean, I would encourage you at some point, Daniel, $40 a month for Deal Machine. If you use the TTP code, $40 a month for Deal Machine. If it, I assume it works. They're in your state. So, I encourage anybody, if they don't want to write it down, Deal Machine, TTP code. It's the biggest discount they give to the Rhino tribe. So check that out. So Daniel, how do people get in touch with you? How do they say congrats? How do they squat up with you in your area? How do they network? I mean, how can people reach out to you?
Facebook, most of the time, it's Daniel Vasquez. That's or Instagram. I'm not really active on there. I barely post anything, but same Daniel Vasquez.
Staying focused. He's staying focused. This guy's incredible. 27 years old. He's not on Instagram. This is what I'm talking about. I love it. Oh man, I love it. So, all right. So Daniel Vasquez on Facebook, guys, check him out. That's VAZQUEZ. Check him out. Go send him a DM. Tell him congratulations. Give him some love. Any final thoughts as people are starting out in this business? What advice would you give them, Daniel?
Just to be consistent. Don't overthink it. A lot of the times we overthink stuff, and then that gets to our heads, and then pretty much we don't do anything. So that would be my main thing, just to be consistent and don't overthink it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Daniel. From working in a factory for 6 years, manual labor, to being able to quit his job because of the power of wholesaling real estate and real estate investing in 31 days. You are a shining example of the potential of this business, Daniel. So I love it. You're incredible. And thank you for sharing your story. Everybody else out there, if you are interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP family. It's the TTP program. Please go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Scroll down, see what it's about. Check out all the testimonials. Nobody has more. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. We look forward to talking to you, and I look forward to working with you one-on-one. And that's it, Daniel. What an incredible show. Thank you for coming on here. That was wonderful. And everybody out there, as always, I encourage you to talk to people. Until next time, love you. See you.